Hi, boys and girls. Welcome back to Relax and Read with Mrs. B. Happy spring. It's officially spring. It's one of my favorite seasons. And so I definitely will be doing a spring book very shortly. But today we're going to read a story together about a little girl whose grandma starts to forget some things that are important to her. And so she helps her grandma remember. And so today's book is called The Amazing Zoe and Grandma's Memory Box. Let's dig in and find out what fun, interesting things we can learn from today's book. Let's go. The Amazing Zoe and Grandma's Memory Box is written by Valine Campbell. Bring your bag downstairs, Zoe. We will head to Grandma's house in 5 minutes. Zoe's mom shouted from the bottom of the stairs. Coming, Mommy, I'll be right there, Zoe replied with excitement. Zoe did not want to forget any of her favorite things when visiting Grandma's house for the weekend with her mommy. She checked her list. Then she said, let me see. I have my pajamas, slippers, teddy, and my art and craft kit. I think I'm ready. Zoe's bag was about to pop. She stuffed so many items inside her bag. Zoe and her mommy leaped in the car and headed on their way. Zoe loved to visit Grandma. Grandma always greeted them with freshly baked homemade chocolate chip cookies. Yum, yum. This was the only time Zoe's mommy allowed her to eat as many as she wanted. When the family arrived at Grandma's house, Zoe jumped out of the car, ran to the door, and rang the doorbell. A friendly lady dressed in a hospital outfit opened the door. You must be Zoe. Your grandma has been expecting you, said the lady. Yes, I am. What's your name? Asked Zoe. My name is Lily. I stop by each day for a few hours to be with your grandmother. Oh, so you must be Grandma's best friend? Zoe asked curiously. Well, something like that. I help your grandmother with everything she needs, and I do care for her very much, said Lily. Lily seems like a really nice lady. I just love Zoe's apple puff. Zoe and her mommy went inside the house. Grandma came out of her room and greeted Zoe with a tight hug and a big kiss on her cheek. Ooh, Grandma's kisses. Hi, Grandma. Hi, Milo Kitty, said Zoe with excitement. Hi, Sophie, Grandma replied, sounding unsure. I'm Zoe, Grandma, not Sophie. Oh, yes, of course, said Grandma as she quickly corrected herself. Sophie was your mommy's childhood friend. How silly of me. That's okay, Grandma, said Zoe. Zoe took off her shoes and dashed to the kitchen to look for her chocolate chip cookies. Grandma, where are the chocolate chip cookies you usually bake for me? Zoe asked. What cookies, sweetheart? Replied Grandma. The cookies you always have freshly baked for me when I visit, Zoe said with sadness in her voice. Oh, yes, that is right. You like oatmeal cookies, said Grandma. Yucky! No, I do not, Grandma. I like chocolate chip cookies. I'm so sorry, Zoe. It looks like I forgot to make them, said Grandma. That's okay, Grandma, said Zoe. Zoe felt very sad. She could not stop thinking about the chocolate chip cookies that she was looking forward to eating. Zoe's mommy said, I'll make some for you when we get back home. I promise. Okay, Mommy, Zoe replied. Zoe knew that although Mommy's cookies tasted great, there was something a little extra special when Grandma made them. Grandma, Mommy, and Zoe spent the rest of the evening playing board and video games. They always played during Zoe's visit. Zoe noticed Grandma could not remember the game's rules, but Zoe was patient and helped her. So Grandma is starting to forget things, but Zoe is exercising patience with her. When Grandma got tired, she went to her room and to take a nap. Zoe went to the kitchen with a plain cardboard box she found in one of Grandma's empty bedrooms. She sat at the kitchen table with the box, her arts and crafts kit, and took out a rainbow of different paint colors. I wonder what she's going to make. She opened her paint tubes and squeezed drops of sky blue, fire engine red, and sunshine yellow on a palette. Zoe dipped her fingers one by one in the paint and then her entire hand. She pressed her wet hands on the box with a splat. Her handprints were all over the box. Hand paint. When the paint dried, she took construction paper, scissors, and glue out of the kit. She cut and pasted different shapes on the box too. It didn't matter what Grandma, Mommy, and Zoe were doing. They were just happy to be together. That night, as Zoe was getting ready for bed, she said, "Mommy, Grandma seems different." Mommy replied, "Different? What do you mean?" "It seems Grandma keeps forgetting things. She forgot my name a few times and how we play her favorite video game," Zoe said as her eyes filled with tears. Mommy agreed. "Yes, you're right. A few things are changing with Grandma." "Where is she now?" "Grandma tucks me in when we come to visit," asked Zoe. "Grandma has already gone to bed. Now you go get some sleep. We will talk all about it in the morning." So Grandma is changing. We're going to find out how very shortly. The next morning, the smell of homemade waffles, eggs, and bacon woke up Zoe. There was also a colorful bowl of chopped fruit on the table. Zoe walked to the kitchen and saw that it was not Grandma who was cooking. It was Lily. "Good morning, Zoe. I'm making your Grandma some breakfast. Are you hungry?" "There are a few extra waffles, eggs, and bacon on the table. You're welcome to have some," said Lily as she smiled. Zoe's mommy and Grandma also made their way to the kitchen. Zoe could not wait to dig in. "Thank you, Lily," said Zoe, with half of a waffle already in her mouth. "That looks like a nice big breakfast." When they all finished breakfast, Zoe asked her mommy, "Is now a good time for us to speak to Grandma?" "Sure," Mommy answered. "You can always speak to me about anything you like, sweetheart," said Grandma. There's Zoe getting ready to ask Grandma why she is not remembering things. And why do you think that Grandma is forgetting things? Zoe, Mommy, Grandma, and Lily all walked over to the sofa and sat down to talk. "Grandma, I love you so much, but something is different. You forgot my cookies, you forgot to tuck me in, and you even forgot my name." "I can help answer your questions, Zoe," said Mommy. She picked up a blanket lying on a nearby chair made of green and white yarn and took Zoe aside. Grandma knitted the blanket many years ago. Some areas of the blanket were woven tightly together, while other parts had bigger holes. Lily helped Mommy open the blanket and held it high for Zoe to see. "You see, Grandma's brain is changing. Imagine tiny messengers walking along a path, excitedly taking important messages from one part of the brain to another. They all want to share the good news with other messengers. When everything is working together, the messengers move along their paths to where they need to go without delay. But when debris is blocking the messenger's path, they sometimes send the wrong information or can't send it at all. We call this Alzheimer's disease, and the debris cause people to forget important things. The debris changes brain cells, which also changes memory." So Grandma's brain is changing because she has Alzheimer's disease. Zoe wanted to help Grandma's memory. She asked Mommy, "Can Grandma come and live with us? It would be nice, but it is a good idea for her to live in her own home for as long as possible." Grandma has lived here for over 50 years. She knows where to find everything she needs. This is where she's most comfortable. Thank you for your suggestion, Zoe, but I agree with your mommy. I really like being in my home, Grandma added with a smile. Look at Grandma in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s. Grandma, look at you, girl. Zoe still felt as though she wanted to help, but did not know what to do. Later that afternoon, Grandma went to her room to take a nap. Zoe walked around Grandma's house and then suddenly she thought of a new idea. I got it, Mommy, I got it. But I want it to be a surprise. You can't tell Grandma, okay? I promise, said Mommy. I'm going to collect a few important things for Grandma and put them in this box. It's the box that I made last night. This will help her to remember. We can call it Grandma's memory box. When she cannot remember something, she will always be able to look inside this box. I think this will help her. You know what? That's a great idea, Zoe. Grandma will enjoy speaking about old memories, said Zoe's mommy. Zoe wasted no time. She dug through a closet and a few drawers, gathered many special things from around the house, and placed them in the decorated box. This will be a very special box for Grandma. When Grandma woke up from her nap, Zoe couldn't wait to take the box to her. Here, Grandma, I have something for you, Zoe said with excitement. Grandma asked, what's this? And then she opened the box. Inside was an old raggedy doll made of cloth. The doll had on a red dress with 3 large white buttons going down the center. Grandma laughed out loud and said, this is Emma. Where did you find her? When your mommy was your age, your mommy never put Emma down. They were like peanut butter and jelly. They were always together. Grandma loves that doll. It's very special to her. Next, Zoe pulled out an old photo strip. They were photo booth pictures of Zoe's grandpa and grandma from an amusement park many years ago. Zoe and her grandmother laughed. We were making silly faces. We had so much fun that day. We were young in these photos. Next, Zoe pulled out an old pair of ballet slippers. Oh my, Zoe, those are my old ballet slippers. I wore those at my very last recital not too long before your mother was born, Grandma shared. Finally, Zoe took out something out of the box that was round and had a long handle attached. This item made words and objects appear larger for reading. Grandma seemed curious. She did not know what it was. What is this? Grandma asked while holding it close to her face. Zoe replied, it's a magnifying glass, Grandma. Whose is it? I have never seen it before. It is yours, Grandma. You keep it on your nightstand for reading at night, explained Zoe. I do not know who it belongs to. That is not mine. Zoe noticed something about Grandma. Mommy, I think sometimes Grandma remembers things that happened long ago better than newer things. What made you come up with that thought? Asked Zoe's mommy. Grandma remembered the things in the box from when she was younger, but seemed not to remember things she used just yesterday. Zoe's mommy agreed. Alzheimer's disease often affects newer memories before older memories. You did something great by creating this box. It's perfect. We will try to keep Grandma's older memories alive as long as we can. Let us fill Grandma's box with more happy memories. Thank you, Zoe. This is so thoughtful. This box will keep me company even after you and your mommy return home. One day, I want you to have it so you will always remember me. I want you to know my memory will continue to change, but Grandma will always love you. Oh, that's so sweet. And I will always love you too, Grandma, said Zoe as they hugged. The following day, Zoe, Grandma, and Mommy said their goodbyes. Zoe needed to get home to prepare for school the next day. See you next time, Grandma, Zoe shouted out of the car window as Zoe's mommy drove away. Grandma waved and went back into the house with Lily. This was a fun visit with Grandma. Mommy, I learned so much about her, Zoe said cheerfully. I'm glad you had a good time, Zoe. You were such a good girl. I think you deserve a treat. Really? A treat for me? Oh, she's excited. Yes, I wanted us to leave Grandma's house early enough so I can bake you your favorite chocolate chip cookies, Zoe said as she chuckled. Yes, shouted Zoe while bursting with excitement. This really was the perfect weekend. Thank you, Mommy, Zoe said and smiled all the way home. And that is it, boys and girls. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's story. I hope you learned about Alzheimer's disease and how, if you have a grandparent that forgets, then you can maybe make a memory box for them too, or something that you think will be extra special to them. So I will see you next time on Relax and Read with Mrs. B. Have a good day. Bye bye.